Hey y'all, this is Retha.
Hey, this is Deandra, and you are now listening to.
Coffee, Heels, and Conversation podcast.
So grab your coffee and listen in.
Hey y'all, how y'all be?
What's up, peeps?
Welcome back to another episode of the pod. We are so happy you are here and have joined us.
Yes.
So of course, as always, we are going to take care of church announcements, which
What
is
the church got?
what the what the church got.
Church got the coffee.
Church got the coffee. Rita, what are you drinking today?
So, I want to to see my. Y'all know my name. So, after the gym, I went to Starbucks. One of my friends at work always orders this.
Mhm.
Um, it's a vanilla cream cold brew. I've never had a cold brew before.
Okay.
So we will see how I like this. My first time trying it, but it is from hashtag not sponsored. It is from the Starbs.
All right. Well, she's going to try it now. For those who are just listening, she's trying it now.
Okay, I like this. Okay, Starbs.
Okay.
I like that. I was a
Okay.
little nervous, but I was like, you know what? I might not like it. I like it.
Okay, cool. I'm having regular homemade coffee from the Church of Walmart as always. A little bit of French vanilla creamer, a little bit caramel, and then the coffee today is actually the French vanilla coffee from the Church of Walmart. Yeah, so that's what I'm drinking. So to start off today's topic, I am going to read a quote and hopefully it will give you a little like preview of what we're talking about today. So the quote says, "Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift of God, which is why we call it the present." And that is by Bill Keane or Keenan. I'm not really sure which one, but Mr. Bill, if you're still alive, I'm sorry I messed up your name. So yeah, that brings us. Rita, why are you laughing at me? Rita's cracking up, but I don't know why, y'all. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what's happening. She's
Okay,
cracking up laughing
two
right
things came to
now.
my mind when you said Mr. Bill. I was thinking about that little thing. I think there's some little cartoon that said Mr. Bill. And then it
Okay.
just made me think of Schoolhouse like, I'm a Bill. Yes, I'm a Bill.
You're silly.
There's
I'm
no
done.
capital here.
You are so silly.
And
I'm
am.
done. Okay, so anywho, hopefully that gave you a little preview, but if it didn't and you're completely lost why I read that quote, we are going to be talking about the past, present, and future and how long we spend thinking about those three areas, time spans of life. So when Rita and I were discussing the topic, I was telling her, like, for me, how long I focus on thinking about the past, thinking about the present, thinking about the future really depends on where I am in my life at that particular time. So, like, if I'm kind of stuck or if I'm questioning where I am, questioning like where I'm going, I start thinking about my past decisions, which means that maybe like 70% of the time, I'm thinking about the past, try to figure out how to not redo, but like kind of maneuver some things so I can move forward from the feeling of feeling like I'm stuck or whatever. And then if I'm good where I'm at presently, I think about the future. And saying that out loud for me feels like I need to start focusing on being more present because if I'm constantly thinking about either direction, I'm never where I'm at currently. What about you, Aretha?
I spend entirely too much time thinking about the past or the future. I tend to think about things that haven't happened yet
Mm-hmm.
and be like, well, what if this? And I create whole scenarios in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I create a whole script in my head,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's something where like I have to talk to somebody in the future about something. I'll create a whole entire script. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning to stop doing that. But just in general, like I'll think about things in the future and then I'll get really like I'll tend to get very like down because like the future that I desire,
Mm-hmm.
certain things are not in place for those things to happen, if that
Okay.
makes sense. And so it's just kind of like "Oh, I don't have it. I don't," it's like almost like I'm focusing on when I don't have it, what's not yet. And then with the past, I'll think about certain things that have happened to me or whatever, or certain things I've been through. Um, and sometimes I can tend to like either regret things or I try not to, but it happens.
Mhm.
Or I feel like I'm like I dwell on it a little bit too much. So I really am like wanting to practice and learn to be present because I realized I forget what situation because I've had so much happen last year, but like something made me realize I'm like, dang, like I spend so much time thinking about like I spent so much time focused on the future when I was younger that like I literally missed gaps of my life, things that I
Right.
actually probably could have enjoyed because I'm over here thinking about a future that hasn't happened. And so it's
Right.
like I'm trying to be better at, and I'm a work in progress, this is hard, but I'm trying to be better at like being being like present. Like I will have moments where I'm like, I'll literally tell myself the date and the time because it's like, girl,
Mhm. Right.
get here. Or even like for me, it'll be like, oh, like last week, for instance, last week I try to get time with God in the morning before I go to work. Last week that did not happen that one day. Okay.
Mhm.
The girl was tired. It's been a lot of stuff happening at work, been very stressful, all of that. So I got up this morning and got my time with God and I was like, okay, Drita, like, okay, yes, you feel bad about it, but don't continue to like, don't carry that on. You're
Mhm.
doing it today.
Right.
Don't care like, oh well, next time will be better. Okay, yeah, next week you'll do better and you'll focus on next week, not right now.
Mhm.
So it's like trying to train myself to be like, where are you right now in this moment? And not be so far into the past of like, oh, I didn't really do good last week, or
Mhm.
um, even though, oh, I'm gonna do better next week. It's like, where are you right now?
Right.
You're in the current day. So do what you can do today.
Right.
So that's kind of like where I don't even know how the percentage. I know I spend too much time not thinking about the here and now.
Right. Um, I think that so because we both kind of realized that we need to stay more present, I was able to find some like quick tips on how to remain more present. So the first thing is to make a commitment to remain present. And it says remaining in the present moment is going to require a degree of effort and commitment. Start by spending a few moments each morning reminding yourself that you need to enjoy the day for what it is and make the most of it. So I think that's pretty much what you just said. Like you can remind yourself, like, hey, what today is January, whatever it is, Wednesday, like whatever day, you know what I mean? Like you remind yourself of where it is. And then I think that's important to say that you have to make a commitment because it's not like we're gonna just wake up one day and be like, I'm
It
present.
takes practice. It
Right.
takes practice.
It takes like a conscious like it takes what is it? It takes 21 days to build a habit. So it's like
Hmm.
it's gonna take us a while. And then also to what you said about focusing on what you didn't do, we have to try not to like beat ourselves up
Yeah.
about it, like, and just be like, okay, this today I did not do it, but tomorrow's another day, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yep.
Um, the second tip is to develop a system.
Mm.
It says you may want to develop a system for reminding yourself to remain present. This could include things such as setting a reminder on your phone to bring you back to the present moment, or setting aside a block of time each day that you focus only on what the present has to offer.
I think that's really good because I remember I was watching this. Okay, so I follow the holistic psychologist on Instagram, and that girl, they be in my business. So they have this podcast, and I watched it. It's like a few weeks, like probably last month sometime, and they were talking about becoming present in like your body now because
Mhm.
sometimes it's like our bodies we're like in our bodies but not in our bodies if that makes sense.
Right.
And so like they literally talked about setting a timer of like
Mhm.
for every like setting a timer at least a few times a day,
Mhm.
and when that timer goes off you do this work to like ground yourself in
Mhm.
that present moment. So I was just like it made me think of that because it's like that's I need to do that because it's like my when I tell you my mind be everywhere.
Mhm.
So I think that that's a really good tip, like to have something that reminds us and to take the time to ground ourselves. And I know a lot of us are busy, we work, people have kids, marriage, whatever. But it's like finding a way to have these reminders for yourself, like, oh wait, this is time for me. Give me a second. I gotta get to where I am. Because I'll be, you'll be doing something, like you'll be washing the dishes, but your mind is somewhere else. You're not focused
Mhm.
on what you're not even though you're going through the routine of washing the dishes, your mind is other places sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's just like bringing yourself back to okay, where am I in this present moment? Like right now, I am sitting on my couch at home
Mhm.
shooting a podcast.
Right.
You know, instead of thinking, oh, I'm gonna do this later and I'm gonna do that later. It's like, no, no, no. Where are you now? So I think that's a really good tip.
Yeah. I like that too. I like what you said as well. It made me think of this video that I saw on TikTok the other day, and I forgot if it was for mindful meditation because I said I wanted to try and become more, like do more meditation or whatever. And I forgot what her reasoning for doing it was, but she said, okay, so we're gonna do it real quick for those who are listening. Just listen to what I'm saying, and then if you're watching, do it with us. Okay, so you close your eyes, right, and you put your pointer and your thumb together, like you're pinching, right? Close your eyes and rub your fingers together and start feeling the ridges of your fingers, like basically your fingerprint. And you slow your breath down. And it's supposed to bring you back to it makes you focus on the littlest thing, which is you never realize that you can feel the ridges of your fingers until you close your eyes, slow down your breath, and just rub your fingers together. You get what I'm saying, Aretha?
Yes, because it's like I was initially rubbing them hella fast. And I was like,
It
girl,
forces you to
slow
slow
down,
down,
slow down. And it's like, oh,
right?
slow
I
down.
forgot to say that for
Okay.
those who are doing it, you put to do it slowly. It's supposed to be a slow because that's the way you're
Slow
gonna feel
down.
it. Slow down. That's what you put it. You'll feel your ridges of your fingers if you rub them together slowly. So when I'm over, I just saw it this week, so it's not like I've been doing it forever. But this week, if I'm overwhelmed, or if I was stressed about something, I literally would just be at work and I'll just have my eyes closed on my desk and just be and just rub my fingers together, and it kind of it would help. I don't know why it helped, but it just helped me okay, relax.
Girl, I
It's
wish you
gonna
had to
be
send me
okay.
that TikTok this week because this week I tell you, I could have used that. I would have been all day just like this. Look at what's wrong. Girl. What's wrong? My fingers, leave me alone. Girl, I could use
So,
that this week. Woo, child,
yeah.
he was trying. They was trying you, girl.
So that brings us to the next tip, which is become aware of your body. So part of remaining present in the present moment entails becoming more in tune with the physical sensations that the present moment provides. So basically they're saying be aware of any hunger, any pain, any other physical needs that need to be addressed, taken care of. This tip is a little long, so I'm just trying to skim through it really quick. But basically it's saying if you focus on these needs more, you're not only taking better care of yourself, but you are also more likely to remain present in the future, in the present moment instead of focusing on the future. So
And I
basically,
think
go ahead.
I think too, it's sometimes when you have been through trauma, you kind of leave your body or you're not as in tune with your actual body because
Mm,
some things have happened to you, whether it's whatever kind of abuse it was,
mm,
you sometimes will leave your body to keep
mhm,
yourself safe. So it's for me, I realized that I'm I wasn't in tune with my body for a long time
mhm,
because of the things that I've been through, whatever. And so because it wasn't my abuse wasn't drastic or anything, but it was enough for me to be okay, this ain't safe. I don't feel safe. And so I've never felt safe in my own body.
mhm,
And so I think that that's important, especially all of us have had some form of trauma. So it's just I think that's good because that's something in that podcast I was listening to that I alluded to earlier. It's they talked about, becoming present in your body. Okay, feeling right now, feeling my behind on this couch, feeling
right.
my foot on my laptop desk, whatever, actually being into it and feeling those things
Mhm,
and kind of okay, ground you in that present moment because you don't realize even though we're in our bodies, we don't always connect with our bodies.
Right.
And so it's like, I think that's good.
Yeah. That's really good. And you saying that definitely like reminded me of, like you said, you're in your body, but you don't feel like everything that's going on. Like,
Mhm.
it's almost like if you ever talk to somebody who's on the spectrum, sometimes when they're sensitive to feel like sensitive, their sensors are, oh my God, sensors are overloaded. Like they can feel their shirt on their body. And while
Mm.
to us, that's not, we don't feel that. That's
Yeah.
how in tune I think is, I mean, granted, it's probably crazy. It probably drives them crazy. Not
Mhm.
drive them crazy, not in that way, but it could get on their nerves because you literally can feel everything. So they can feel like certain
Mhm.
material, they can feel the difference in like a smoother material, like
And
something
the
that we
rougher,
would
yeah.
not we
Mhm.
would not feel.
I
So they're
noticed, yeah.
very in tune with their bodies, but um it made me think about that. Like right now, you can't feel the shirt on your body right now.
Yeah,
You can't feel the
I know I
material.
have one on, that's about it.
Right, exactly. But it's like imagine being that in tune with your body that you can feel
Mhm.
the littlest things, or you can feel like, the carpet underneath your feet and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that is another good way to be more
Mhm.
present in the moment because you feel the things around your body. But
Yeah.
also like it's also one and I'm kind of like it made me think like we probably won't ever feel it as intensely as they do.
No, probably not. Mm-mm.
But okay, so the next one is remain conscious of your thoughts.
Ooh,
Try to
child.
keep your try to keep your thoughts positive and present focus. If you find yourself
Mm.
going down a negative train of thought or worrying about the future, shift your focus back to positive thoughts about the here and now. And then it says, if you're spending time with your friends or family, enjoying the afternoon or doing some other pleasant activities, make an effort to keep your mind in the moment rather than thinking about what's ahead. That's really good because your mind is super. I just saw like a preacher, what was it, a preacher or the pastor who said like you can think yourself into a bad mood. Like like you can literally just think yourself into
Mhm.
basically into anything. Like,
Mhm.
and that's really good because I also saw another video. I low key TikTok need to just sponsor me because I'll be on there. But I was thinking about another person said on a video when you're an overthinker. No, it's either an overthinker or like something where basically if the thought starts with what if, it's an intrusive thought. So
Mm.
you have to go and kind of like take that out. Like this is not true. This is not based on anything. My mind is
Mhm.
making this up.
Yes.
So it's
Mhm.
like that,
Damn.
hearing that, I was like, oh, that's so, and I also like being in school when we talk about it in school. And it's
Mhm.
like, just like if you have clients who overthink, like you have to try to help them. Like obviously as a therapist, your job is not to give anybody advice, but to kind of guide them to
Yeah.
a different, to a better them. I guess. I don't know. I said that wrong, but whatever. Don't quote me.
But no,
Basically, yeah,
yeah.
but that made me think of that.
That's good though, because man, it's like you really can think your way into any emotion, whatever, because it's like, because like for instance, like when stuff happens in life, like for instance, the past few weeks have at my job have been very stressful, and I've had some crazy situations happen, and it's like, okay, when I think about it, the more angry I get.
Mhm.
When I don't think about it, I'm like, okay, you know. But also that's a whole nother topic. But still, like, but it's crazy because like one of the tools that my therapist has given me was what's called the cognitive triangle, where it's like you basically have thoughts, feelings, and actions in the triangle. And it's like you try to stop whatever's happening. You try
Mhm.
to stop it at each thing. And
Mhm.
sometimes you're not successful, but it's like that tool has been really helpful because like I'll think like sometime this week I had this very negative thought and I was like, no, 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 mm-mm, we're
Mhm.
not gonna think like that. But I said that, but I had already gotten myself to the feeling part. So it was like, okay, at least I was able to stop myself before acting on anything crazy. But it's like it really does make you think about, wait, hold on, stop.
Mhm.
This is not, and like really be like, this is not a helpful thought. This thought is not
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah.
And, changing your thoughts, changing your thinking isn't easy, but it definitely is possible because
Mhm.
I've noticed like my self talk has historically been negative,
Mhm.
but it's gotten a lot better because I started to be like, no, 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 we're not going to think like that. That's not what we're going to do. So it's really about stopping those thoughts and be like, hey, nope, 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 we're not thinking like that.
Mhm.
This thought doesn't help. We're going to think this.
Right.
And instead of, because I think we want to wait until we feel something. You
Mhm.
can't wait because if, okay, for instance, like I said, I went to the gym today. If I felt like going to the gym, if I waited till I felt like it, I may have not gone. I may have gone. Who knows? It's like I can't wait till I feel like if I wait to feel like I spending time with God, I ain't gonna do it. If
Right.
I wait to, like, mind you, we do stuff we don't feel like doing all the time.
Right.
Because let's look at work. Do we really feel like going to work every day?
Right.
Not really, but we
I
go. So
don't.
it's like stop waiting for ourselves to feel a certain way because it's what controls our feelings sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's a trigger from just certain things, whatever. So you can't, those things you have to work through.
Mhm.
Like sometimes a smell can trigger something, seeing somebody can trigger something, so whatever. So we're not talking about that kind of stuff, but the stuff that starts in your mind, your thoughts, I can, your thoughts are what's gonna produce what feelings. And I've noticed that because, like I said, the more I thought about certain situations at work, the angrier I got. The less I thought about them, the less angry I became.
Right.
So like you don't realize how like the thought and feeling connection. It's like very, very close. So it's like the less I think negatively or the less I think in certain ways, the less sad or whatever, depressed, whatever I feel. So that's good.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say about that was if you ever notice, like, if you ever notice how powerful your mind is when, like, if you're already, say something happens, you're now in a bad mood. And now you're like, I'm just not in a good mood. I'm not in a good mood. I'm not having a good day. I'm not in a good mood. Everything that follows after that put you like deeper into that bad mood. So it's like you have already, but you didn't notice that you had already spoke that out loud, and like you were already in that in your mind. Like I'm already in a bad mood. Like same thing even with being sad. Like I'm just sad today. I just want to cry. It's a really sad day. Whatever, whatever. Everything after that is sad or it makes you, or like if you're determined to be sad, your mind starts thinking about stuff that you ain't think about in years that bring you to a sad place. So it's like you don't really realize how powerful your mind is and also how powerful your words are. Like what you're saying can also feed into that as well.
You made me think of them. Perfect example. Okay. So this is funny. So I have a little, okay, so I had a little wristlet, a Coach wristlet. It broke now what, 2 weeks ago. And so I had it like it broke last week, whatever. So the zipper part was not openable. Like I had to like use scissors to like get it open, whatever. But I wasn't thinking about that when I tried to get gas before work on Monday. So my mom went to the gas station. I started thinking, I'm like, am I going to open my wallet? Like I was really like, oh my gosh. And so like I tried to open it with the key. It wouldn't open, whatever. And then I'm like, I had gotten to work. Something else happened, and it was like I had to tell myself, like, because I know myself, I would have been like, oh well, this is a sign of how today's going to be. It's like, nope, mm-mm, we're not going to think about that. Because I literally had to leave the gas station without getting gas because I couldn't open my doggone wallet.
Right.
But it's like I know that like my usual thing is like, okay, this is a sign of how my day is going to be,
Hmm.
and there's other things that happen that could have been like, see what I say, but it's like, no. And I had to tell myself, we're not gonna think like that. Mm-mm.
Right.
It just happened. We ain't gonna think like that. Now, mind you, there are other things that happened on Monday that would have been like, well, I mean, low key, that was a sign, but it's like, no, we're not gonna think like that. And
Right.
so I didn't, even though other things happened, I didn't experience the day as I would have had I held on to that thought, had I not stopped it.
Yeah. That's good. That's powerful.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so the next there's only two more and then we'll be done with this. Um The next one is be aware of your surroundings. And it says there's a lot going on around you, but if you don't take the time to stop and smell the roses, you might miss it. Pause and take a careful look at your surroundings. Then think carefully about what's going on. And then it says, far too often we flow through the days without ever stopping and looking at the world around us. It says, however, it's incredibly interesting. It's an incredibly interesting world that we live in if you just make the effort to pause and take it all in. That's really good. I have noticed that lately at work. Like I'm the type of person I sit at a desk, but the computers that I work are like high, so I have to look up to acknowledge anybody. But oftentimes I'm looking at my computer talking to people because I still have to click through. I gotta type. I have also what I gotta do. So somebody could be also sidebar has nothing to do with nothing. I hate being stared at. So when I'm at work and they're coming to check in, they're coming to get a paper, they're coming to do whatever, they will stand there and stare at me like they are trying to stare a hole in my head. And I do not like being stared at. So that's another reason why I don't look at them, but okay, that's whatever. Anyway, back to the point. I realize that I will stare at the computer. So if something was to happen with somebody, you know, oh, this person passed out. What did they have on? Did they have on glasses? Did they have whatever? I don't know because I don't know what you look like. Like I looked at you once. I looked up. I took your ID. I looked down, and for the rest of the time that you are in front of me, I'm not looking at you. But I realized that I have to stop doing that because one, I need to be more conscious of the people who are coming in that office. One, people are getting a little crazier. Okay. But also, you don't know who you're speaking to. You don't know, like if they say, "Oh, you helped me last time." I don't know if I helped you. I didn't look at you. I don't know. And it's also just not like it's not the smartest thing to do to just not look at people when they're in front of you. Also, like I keep on thinking about the scripture. It's like be careful who you're entertaining because you could be entertaining an angel, however that scripture goes or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
what if an angel walked in? And it's probably really extreme, probably sounds crazy now that I'm saying it out loud. But like,
No,
what if
but
an
that's
angel
real.
walked in and I missed it? I missed everything that I could have gotten. I wouldn't even look at you. So that's what I think about when I read that.
No, that's so interesting because like I have to tell like we be on the same page and not even like in the same state. It's crazy. Because I'm like, Doretha, you have to start looking people in the eye because I would literally be checking in a patient, and then can you so I'm like literally trying to be more conscious about looking people in their eyes and looking at them while I'm checking them in and stuff like that. Because it's just like, okay, part of it is because I'm an introvert, but it's like, girl, like also look people in the eye,
Yeah.
whatever. And then I didn't even think about what you talked about, like, because people are crazy.
Right.
Because I've legit been screamed at for no reason.
Right.
So it's just like, so I am like, okay, I am getting better with that, like looking people in their eye, even though sometimes they're not looking at me, but I'm like,
Girl, they always looking at me.
whatever.
They're always
Because
like
sometimes,
peering into my soul.
girl, they be looking at places they don't need to be looking at sometimes. So like, I don't need you to look at my computer screen. I don't need
Right.
you to look
Yeah.
at when I'm writing down on your chart. You need to be.
Right.
Because we have an X-ray machine, and so we'll have patients that are checking out. They're looking at the X-ray machine. Is that your X-ray?
Right.
That's somebody else's mouth, my guy. Stop looking. No, but for real, I have gotten better about that. But it also made me think of another tool that my therapist gave me because like a grounding exercise for especially like when you're dealing with anxiety and stuff like that. She was like, take so there's one that's like basically like using your five senses. Like what are like five things you see, four things you hear, three things you can submit, like different, like taking you through your senses or whatever, two things you can touch, whatever, to kind of ground yourself, to get yourself to be in the present. So I need to use it more, but I had definitely have used it when I've been anxious. So I remember when I was dating, what's his name? Like I was so anxious for like our first date, whatever. So I was like, as I was driving, I was like doing that to like ground myself of like, okay, hold on, just to myself. So that was really helpful. And then the other thing was just like the other thing that she would have like, okay, she also would have like you would do like kind of I guess you could call it color association kind of thing.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I see a red car or I see a green tree. Like, like just saying what you see and like the colors, like you're actually like grounding yourself.
Mhm.
And so sometimes too, it's like it's also a thing of like just to me, it's also this thing of like honoring God in a way of like the beauty of his creation.
Right.
And like, cause sometimes, girl, I love like when it's a full moon and they're low,
Mhm.
and I'll just be like, Lord, that's so beautiful. Like when I actually notice it and see it, but it's like looking, like being aware of your surroundings for a couple reasons. One reason is safety,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Women out here, you know, but also just like, just to appreciate God's creation and just to like be aware and another part of being present. Like, okay,
Mhm.
like let me just be here.
Right.
And so like one of the things too she gave me because like people will like I'm at work, people will like come up to me like, oh Drita, can you help me? Can you do this? Can you do that? Whatever. And I noticed that like I would be talking to people, my coworkers, but I'm looking at them and I'm like, okay, I need to make a conscious effort to look at the person I'm talking to,
Mhm.
even though they're not tripping, but it's like I know that that's probably the better thing is to like look at them, okay, oh yeah, I got you, I'll do that, whatever.
Right.
Because like that is like engaging. And then even when you're with friends and stuff, because I remember this one time I was hanging out with my friend one day and then I had a date later, whatever. And it was like, focus on where you're at right now. Don't think about that date. Think about your time with your friend.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Really like engaging in whatever is actually in front of you so you can get like the best experience like from it.
Mhm.
Instead of being so focused, because I don't think we realize how not focused we are,
Right.
especially in this freaking messed up American society. There's so many things coming at us and bombarding us on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
You got the news, you got social media, you got this, you got that. And it's like, it is so important to like really do our best to like stay present.
Right. Yeah. Um, I agree 100% with that. It is very important. Okay, and the last tidbit from this article is enjoy being where you are.
Mm.
Think about how much time you spend waiting on something, whether it's short-term waiting, such as waiting for a bus, or long-term waiting, such as on a promotion at work. People spend so much of their time looking forward to a future event. So basically, also it says this one is kind of long. Um, hmm, okay. A waiting mindset breeds impatience, and
Mm.
impatience breeds frustration. The reality is, though, that waiting is a choice. And rather than choosing to wait, you can choose to enjoy life's moments as they come instead. And that was by Mr. Jack Canfield. Thank you,
Why
sir.
I feel like he just came for me right now.
He what? He came for you?
He just came for me. You did not see me over here shaking my head like, fam, like, you don't come for me like that.
Yeah. And that's so true. Like that's even and that waiting part doesn't have to be even waiting for something like it could be waiting for something good, like even something you're excited about. You're still so focused on the future that you're not enjoying the present. So like you have to wait, but why not enjoy where you are? I like that. I think that that's so true.
I feel like God just slapped me through that man. And I'm just like, if you got something to say with me, don't be in the corner and say it to my face, Lord.
I'm done. I'm done. Don't be
No,
challenging
'cause
God like
it
that.
was just like, it was just like, God, why you gotta do me like that? Damn. Because like, that's me. I am so focused on like the waiting and like, oh, I'm tired of waiting because I'm very impatient.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very impatient person. And it's like, huh, maybe that's why you're behind is impatient because all you doing is focusing on the waiting and not thinking about enjoying where you actually are and
Right.
trying to rush the process. So that's like when I tell you it's literally working on me right now because I'm just like, dang, like I am super impatient
Right.
and I'm always focused on like even with like my weight loss, for instance, right? Let's just take that. I, I have a time frame to where I want to get where I want to get. It's
Mm-hmm.
a long way off, but I'm just saying, like, I do have a time frame, and it's like, oh, I can't wait. excuse me, I can't wait till I get there. And it's like, why don't you enjoy? Why don't you enjoy where you're at? Why don't
Right.
you enjoy, what you're doing? Like the community that you're developing by going to the gym consistently.
Right. Yeah.
The community that you're developing by being a part of different challenges, whether
Hmm.
it's with the book club or the gym, like embracing those moments instead of just being so focused, okay, I can't wait to get there. It's like, no, appreciate the journey. And I feel like that's what God is like screaming at me about is like, girl, if you don't just appreciate and enjoy, because I've literally felt like I've heard that, like, enjoy the journey and
Hmm.
stuff lately. And that really did check me, like, not even being funny, that really did check me because I'm like, I'm girl, when I am driving, I am very impatient. I'm getting better, but I'm still impatient. And just as I'm waiting for certain things to happen in my life where I'm working on certain things so that other things can come, it's like enjoy the process before it's gone, right?
Right.
Enjoy where you are because it's like, dude, if I like even with what I shared a little bit earlier, it's like there are certain parts of my life that I pretty much missed because I was so focused on where I am now. And it's like, don't repeat that. Now that you're aware of that, don't repeat that same mistake because I remember even this week I was like I was working out at the gym and girl was hard and I was just like, "Oh, I can't wait to like my body's where I want it to be." And like in that moment it was like, girl, just enjoy. Like I'm so focused on the future. And it's just like,
Hmm.
girl,
Right.
you don't miss this time. Like even with like for instance, like stuff like marriage, like girl, you if and when you do get married, you're gonna miss this single time. So enjoy
Right.
it,
Yeah.
friend. So it's just like it was just a reminder that God knew I needed, and He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk to you today."
Right. Yeah.
Because I be asking
Exactly.
him, I'm like, "Show up," and he's like, "Okay, bet." I'm like, "You gonna show up to this man telling me, oh, if you're impatient, that's why that's happening." I'm like,
Right.
"So checkmate, checkmate." See, God be speaking. If you don't believe God speaks, He done tore me up right now. So it's just like, oh, I need to stop being so impatient, and then also in that being patient with myself as because what I tend to do is like when I get new information or I learn something or I grow in something, I want to get it right all the time, the rest of the time,
Hmm.
and never make another mistake, right? Never do it again. And it's like, girl, be patient with yourself. My therapist had to tell me that yesterday because I had some situations happen at work and I feel like I'm a pretty good communicator. I'm pretty assertive in my communication because,
Hmm.
you have passive aggressive communication, and uh, um, assertive communication. And the goal is to be assertive in your communication. And I had a moment where I was a little passive aggressive with someone this week.
Hmm.
And she's like, well, it happens sometimes.
Right.
In one instance, you were aggressive, not aggressive. You were assertive in communication with this person. Okay, you have that instance where you weren't. You're not going to get it right all the time, and it's okay.
Right. Yeah. You're not gonna get it right all the time.
So it's like, stop demanding that perfection from yourself, Dorica, and like, be patient with yourself. So
Right.
I'm sure I'm not the only one that needed that message. So
Not
that's
at
a
all.
message for those of us who need it, like also in the process of trying to remain present, trying to enjoy the journey. Don't beat yourself up when your mind does go. Just bring it back
Right.
and do
Yeah.
like I do. Something, and I need to do it more because I literally ask myself, what time is it and what day is it?
Right.
And I'll be like, and that's where we are.
And that's what we are. I like that. That's good. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have anything else to add. Like
Girl,
that's good. Um,
he all up in my business. What's his name? What was his name?
Jack Canfield, he's the
No,
founder
Jack.
of Campbell, I think.
Send that to me.
So I feel like although the point of this topic started, I mean the point this conversation started to be like, oh, how much time do you spend? I think it ended up also still being a good like just our point of all of this is that even if you're looking forward to something, you're dreading something, you're nervous about something, anxious about something, stay in the present moment. It's going to take
Mhm,
work. It's going to be hard. It's
mhm,
not going to be you may get it right the first couple of days that you do it, but there might be a day that you're just off with it. You may have
Mhm.
an off day. Be careful of how you speak things, what you speak,
Mhm.
especially like try to set your intentions. I hate people say that a lot, and now that I kind of get it, like set your expectations of the day, and like I expect today to be a great day, and even if you have something that happens that feels contrary to what you said, keep going and
Mhm.
go more towards I still expect today to be a good day. I still
Yeah.
expect to be in a good mood.
Like, that's not
Um,
gonna affect my day. Yeah.
right. Like don't let things like kind of throw you off your rocker. It's way easier said than done. Like
Hello?
way, way, way easier said
Mhm.
than done. But I think that little bit of effort, that little by little, step by step, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Got that from my professor. Thanks, Dr. Dan. Um, like basically that's the point. Like, just take it one by one, day by day, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond by millisecond if you need to. And be amazing. And that's it. Be present and be amazing.
And I think my last little word is grace.
And give yourself grace.
To give yourself grace, because that's literally, I feel like God has been screaming a lot of little different things at me, and that's one of the things that He's been like, "Girl, I gave you grace. Can you give it to yourself?"
Right. Exactly.
So give yourself grace, like really, like, and it's not like, oh, because I think for me, I always feel like, oh, you're just like giving yourself away out. It's like, no, like I need to give myself grace because I beat myself up. Nobody can beat me up as much as I beat myself up.
Right. Yeah. Same.
So, learning to give yourself grace because I'm learning to give myself grace. So I just want to leave you guys with that grace.
Yes. Give yourself grace. And on that note, as always, you can reach me at Deandra.Monique. Reach the podcast at Coffee Hills Convo Pod. Rita.
You can reach me at the author on IG. And you can visit our website at chcpod.com. I just like to just remind you guys, please watch, subscribe on the YouTube and on whatever podcast listening platform because we're really trying to grow. And the way that we can grow is by you guys sharing it, commenting, engaging, listening. That's really going to help us blow up like we want to. And
Yes, yes.
we love y'all who have been rocking with us. We really appreciate it.
Yes, yes. Thank you all. You guys are amazing. And we will see y'all next week. Bye.
Bye.